Pika clones and unknowns. Hey trainers, welcome back! You are with PewterCityJim and we're going to add a couple pages to our Sola Pokédex. What's Sola? Glad you asked. It's this channel's ongoing Fakémon project, a region centered around Southern California and some of the surrounding areas. We've got desert by the metric ton, forests and mountains and cities too. With around 100 designs, we've already populated it with a fair few Fakémon, but we've got plenty more to go. On this channel, we also do Let's Plays of official games. Right now, we're doing an Art Locker Pokemon Y version, and on Fridays, you get Fangame Friday, where we work on completing some community-made games. Right now, we're still on Pokemon Anil. If any of this sounds fun to you, and I sure hope it does, liking, commenting, and subscribing are all a massive and appreciated way of showing support. Remember, trainers, you are welcome here. So, I have two lines to discuss today. The regional Pika clone and Sola's variant to the unknown. Let's delve into the unknown first. These odd critters are from Gen 2 and make up the English alphabet plus exclamation and question marks. 28 designs in total, and I wanted to do something similar, but what? Let's hit the old dusty trail and see if inspiration runs us down. So, this idea came to me when researching California landmarks. We have a short stretch of road in a place called Lancaster. It's a musical road. There's a bunch of these around the world, but this one in specific plays a bit of the finale of the William Tell Overture. Sound familiar? And while the Lone Ranger is definitely problematic by today's standards, know better, do better, it's still pretty iconic in regards to the Old West, which is why I think it was picked for this stretch of road. The original composer was Italian, by the way. Hi-ho, Silver, away! We have a few Wild West-themed mons and places already, but when you think of the Wild Wild West, it would be hard to think of anything more iconic than the old Lone Ranger and that bit of music. There's one problem, though, without getting too nerdy. The way that this bit of musical road works is that when you drive over it at exactly 45 miles an hour, your tires strike grooves set in the asphalt. The resulting friction creates noise, and the spacing of the grooves changes the pitch of that noise to the desired tone. These tones, played in sequence, create music. Unless you mess up on the math. And, they messed up on the math. So the road doesn't really sound like the William Tell Overture's finale, it just sounds like random noises. So I kind of find this really sad. I was hoping to get actual footage so you could all hear it, but I wasn't able to do so in time for my own video, but I will link to some videos in the description so you can hear some other folks' experience with it. Anyway, I immediately thought, hey, what if going over a stretch of road in Sola, maybe on your bike or on a ride Pokemon, you get to hear a bit of music and it instigates a random encounter with an unknown themed after musical notes. Travel the road enough times to catch all of them? Sure. The one problem? I don't know much about music at all. I mean, I do dabble a little bit with it in EJ Dance Studio, but that's more like playing with blocks than it is writing actual music. Let's be honest. But you know who does know a bunch about actual music? Misty. So I bugged her for a few minutes to help me understand the secrets of the shapes that I wanted to use. Hi, Misty.
Hey.
So, I'ma bug you.
Okay.
I don't know what music notes are. What do they do? What are they about? Why do they do what they do?
Oh my goodness.
So, I need your help.
Okay.
Right. So if I wanted to hypothetically make a range of unknowns based on the musical notes of the Ballad of William Tell, right? The finale, based on...
Okay.
Hold on.
That's random? Maybe something simpler?
Well, no. So there's a reason for this.
Okay.
Okay. In the Antelope Valley in Lancaster, there's a stretch of road. It's called the Musical Road. And if you drive over it at 45 miles an hour, it plays a section of the finale of William Tell, also known, probably better by you, as the Lone Ranger theme song.
It actually isn't better known to me as that, but go ahead.
Okay, so anyway, look at this. Look at this nonsense. This is all of the, these are all of the notes.
Mm-hmm.
So how many, okay. Look at this one, right? I don't think this is the first page. Hold on. Okay, first page. So we've got this little guy here.
Mm-hmm.
See that one there?
Mm-hmm.
Well, we got a couple of 4s.
Mm-hmm.
And then we've got this guy.
Mm-hmm.
Another one of these.
Mm-hmm.
Another one of these.
Mm-hmm.
Then we got these. Whoa, Nelly. Are these the same notes, but like one is the right way up and one is upside down?
No.
No.
Not quite. No.
Okay.
Oh boy. Okay, so we're gonna have to super simplify this for you.
Yes, please.
I'm gonna start with,
So-
how do you want to differentiate your notes?
Well, so the main thing I want to be able to do is, like, I'd like to have one unknown that is just this guy, right? This little wibbly wobbler here. Then this guy. These are the same. Then, like, if these are different notes, I would have one that looks like this with a total of 4 eyes. Oh, yeah, I guess they are, huh? Because this one kind of, like, curves down. This one curves convex.
Yeah, okay, so what you're not understanding is what you're looking at here. As
I have
far
no
as
idea what I'm looking at.
what notes do.
Okay.
Let's go to something a little simpler.
Okay.
Why don't we pull up something like Twinkle Twinkle Little Star?
So, armed with a little more knowledge than I had before, it was time to design. I knew I wanted these to be psychic rock types to tie in with the idea of them inhabiting this stretch of road. I often employ the use of textures in my rendering, and I figured what better way to do this than to actually grab textures from a bit of road. There was a newly laid stretch of asphalt in a neighborhood nearby, so I went ahead and grabbed a big old crayon and some sketchbook paper, and I made a couple rubbings to add to my Unown's rendering. And I'm gonna level with you. No speed paint for these guys. Why? Because there are 13 of them. They were kind of tedious to color, all pretty similar looking. Plus it took me actual hours. Just entirely too long. Even at max speed, there would be way too much footage to condense down into a reasonable amount of time, so we're gonna jump right into the Dex entry. Unown, Solarium form, the Note Pokémon. There are 13 individual shapes of Unown that are native to the Sola region. They seem tied to a quarter-mile stretch of highway in the north of the region. Little is known about this Pokémon and where it fits in with the greater ecology of Unown in general. It is said in ancient Solarian legends that if you collect all 13, you'll be visited by a special Pokémon, but this has never been confirmed. Types, as mentioned, are Psychic and Rock. The ability is Levitate, which keeps them up off the ground and immune to ground type attacks, with no hidden ability or second ability available. They're a foot tall, just like their canon counterparts, and the shiny is bluer color palette as per normal as well. In terms of moves, Unown generally only gets hidden power. I decided to be a little more on theme with this version though, so they also get Sing at level 1, and at level 100 they will learn the move Relic Song. Stats are identical to standard Unown as well. The Pokédex entry does give away one thing. If you were to collect all 13 of them, logging each one into the special Unown Pokédex section of your Soladex as caught, it would unlock an event where you could catch Meloetta. It might be a different form to the two that you're used to though, but that's a topic for another video. Now, with these ancient beings described, let's move on to an area where we can find our region's Pika clone. And here we are, back in civilization. A perfect place to find this region's electric-type rodent. Well, not really a rodent. I mean, we all know and love the Pikachu-line creatures of the various regions, but technically hedgehogs aren't rodents. So for Sola's yellow-cheeked critter, I went a little off-theme as well. Check out this guy. This is the American opossum. A distant relative of all those crazy Australian animals, this one is a marsupial. It does look a bit like a giant rat though, with that long pointed muzzle, bald tail, and hands and round ears. Now, I find these creatures to be pretty adorable, but I know a lot of folks who don't like them. A couple cool facts about them though. They can't carry rabies. The rabies virus is completely incompatible with opossum physiology, so they don't pass along that particular disease. They also love eating ticks, which helps prevent those parasites from hurting your pets and passing on Lyme disease to you and your family. They're also a part of nature's cleanup crew, doing their best to keep our habitat clean and nice, so try and show a little more love and compassion to our marsupial buddies, huh? Because these guys look kinda like big rats and they're everywhere here in SoCal, they seemed like a perfect option for a Pika clone here in Sola. One thing possums are known for is playing dead. If cornered or picked up, they'll just drop to the ground and start releasing an odor that smells like something died. They're counting on the idea that most predators like their prey alive, and so if the possum smells like they've gone past the old sell-by date, hungry creatures will pass them by as if they were expired milk in the grocery store. Playing dead. This concept led me to the path of the ghost type. Let's throw in a little goofy theater imagery to play up the idea that they're acting for good measure. With the release of Generation 9, we found out that Pika clones could evolve. Now, I guess that does depend on whether you class Marill as a Pika clone. I kinda do, but I see why people wouldn't. Anyway, I wanted to design something reminiscent of Pichu. Just a little round bean of a critter that's cute. It imparts the general idea of the line easily and allows for expansion of features into something more mature down the line. I made it a green color to imply death, kinda like a cartoon zombie. Yeah, now that I'm looking at reference images, I may have subconsciously just kinda lifted this palette from Roddy Tops, pretty much wholesale. Oops. Wasn't intentional, I promise. Anyway, they just got cute little grabber hands to hang on to their parent. no feet, and a little ghost tail along with mystical electrical energy flowing from the eyes. Here we have Poco, the playing possum Pokemon. Poco are an uncommon sight on their own, as they almost always are accompanied by a parent. If you try to train one, it will rarely leave your side, requiring constant physical contact and affection. They are spooked by their own electricity and have an odor some consider unpleasant. Types are electric and ghost. The name Poco comes from possum, the Japanese word for which is just possumu, and ko, which is a suffix kind of for child. You see it in Japanese names a lot, Hanako, stuff like that. Pika clone names are always Japanese, so I tried my best to do the same here. Much like Pichu or Azurill, it's a baby Pokemon and very small. Abilities are static, pretty standard for a Pika clone. Contact moves run you the chance of paralysis. We also have Lightning Rod. This draws in and nullifies all electric type attacks. Hidden ability is Perish Body. This basically gives a free cast of Perish Song when hit by a contact move. It doesn't learn a lot of moves, and its stats are for actual infants. Pretty standard stuff. This would be a friendship evolution, of course. These clingy little kids would only evolve when they feel safe and cared for. Alright, so on to the next evolution. This would be the analog for Pikachu, of course, the middle Evo. Everything is a little bit more defined. There's more of a body shape, and the hands and feet look more like grabbers, or in the case of the feet, they exist. Other than that, though, a very similar design with stretching of proportions and a change in personality. This little fellow is no longer timid and frail. It's happy to be able to battle better, and has improved its ability to play dead to the point where it has a theater mask representing tragedy on its belly. And here we have Reisamu, the playing possum Pokemon. Reisamu have a tricky personality. They will play dead, lying in wait on the forest floor, beside a road, or behind a dumpster. When scavengers or curious people come closer to investigate, Reisamu will often use their favorite move, self-destruct, and no one knows why they find this so amusing. Abilities remain the same, as do types. The name is Rei, Japanese for spirit, and Samu, as in the second half of the Japanese pronunciation of possum. So, spirit possum. Moves have definitely expanded though. They gain the move self-destruct upon evolution, as mentioned in their dex entry. Stats, likewise, are no longer those of an actual infant. And now, of course, we get to the final entry. This would be the analog to Raichu or Poimon. There's a marked increase in detail with a very well-defined body shape, limbs which are now disembodied and float around the creature like the hands of Haunter. Speaking of things floating around, you also have several Poco that are along for the ride. Possums tend to carry their babies around until they're large enough to embark on their own little journey, so it seemed fitting that they should feature as a part of this design. A bit like their very distant relation, Kangaskhan. This also allows for some fun moves and abilities, as you'll see soon. The green used for the main body is a darker shade, and the mask on its belly is now that representing comedy. This Pokemon loves life, even as a ghost type. And here we have Reito Poco, the playing possum Pokemon. Reito Poco are nocturnal creatures that prefer quiet places where their children are free to play undisturbed. They feed gently on the happy emotional energy of their family and, should they be caught, their trainer. As such, Reito Poco will grow stronger when trained by someone who's jovial and kind. Types remain the same, but the ability does see one shift, and that's in the hidden ability. It becomes Parental Bond. This allows the Pokemon to attack twice, with the second instance of the attack hitting at 25% power. It's training its babies to smack stuff. The name is a little complicated. Rei for spirit again, but To is the Japanese word for and then you have Poco, which is the name for the first form. So it's spirit and Poco, which again, possum and child, portmanteau. I thought it was fun. Here are your stats and moves. This line isn't going to shake the world, but I think it's got a fun combination of moves and stats that make it worthwhile enough to train if you happen to like the design. So, where would you find all these monsters? Unown would be in this stretch of highway in particular. Again, you'd be running over it repeatedly to initiate unknown encounters. Some forms would be markedly rarer than others, of course, just to make snagging them all that much harder. Poco would be found in most cities, but very, very rarely. You'd be more likely to run into Reisamu. Reito Poco wouldn't be found in the wild. You need the Duskstone to evolve your Reisamu. And that's what I have for you this month, trainers. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'm very much looking forward to catching you in the next one. But till then, take care. Bye!